bring some of this down. So this is sort of like making like an asymmetrical line. Very brittle the chrysanthemum, so there's a couple of them snapped off. I'll just let you see that. It's starting to come together. Now this is a little bit too heavy for where I want to put it, so I'll just remove one of the flowers. And the centre's a bit old, you find that with chrysanthemum sometimes. That one's bending now, so we'll take advantage of that. And quite often when you cut one out, you can use it somewhere else. There's a hole up in here I want to fill. So are there many of you that are going to be exhibiting floral arranging this year? See, we have 3 there today. And because you're down lower than the other. Okay. Now I haven't filled the back end because it takes me a lot longer. But when you're entering floral arrangements, you really need to make the back look as good as the front sometimes. You don't want the back to look all messy. I'll just put a couple of these in at the back. Some of the pieces that you cut off. So just forgive me for any bits that I haven't filled in at the back there. But can you see the design of that? Do you like that? Now who can do that? Any one of you in this room could do that. All you need is something like a peach stick and a few flowers. You might notice that I've got a small flower, then one a little bit bigger, and then one a little bit bigger. So that gives you the 3 dimensions of flowers. That it's nice when you're creating a design.
Heather, do you always work on a rotating table like the Lazy Susan? Does that help? Looking at back and front?
Yeah, I like to show the people what I'm doing as I go along. But unless you can see what you're doing, some of the time, it may not quite be what you want it to be when it's all finished. I know when I first started, I used to do it just from the back, but I'd rather it look nice when it's finished. Okay, I have a lot more flowers here than I'm going to use, I'm sure. But this one I thought would be suitable for Mother's Day. It could also be used for your bridal. So I'm adding some little baby's breath, seeing you don't like any pearls or any jewellery or anything in it. I thought, well, the baby's breath can tell the story. Also a table centre. And when you do a table centre, that needs to be viewed all around too, just remember that. So this can be just adjusted for any of those types of things. The plant is the Daniela silver streak. I grow that in clumps in the garden. But when it gets that flower on it, I cut it off like that because otherwise you end up with an old plant. So don't be frightened to do that. So that's what I've done today. I've just taken advantage of the ones that had a flower on it and I've cut them off to use. So flax is another leaf that you can use for that same purpose. Now I'm just going to do like a horizontal design for this one, and that it will be a bit wider than your 30 centimetres. Probably won't go any higher than that, but I just thought it'll give you an idea what you can do, and you just bring it back a bit. Preferably not trim, but if there's something that's got a dead piece on it, you're better off to trim it than to leave it. And usually it's best if you can cut it from bottom rather than top. Preferably get to the same distance each side. And that one I'm going to cut some of the bottom end a little bit off the top because it's a bit dead. But when you do cut it off, make sure it just looks like that's how it is growing. The further back you go, the softer it is. So in that, to give me a different texture, because we look for different textures to make the design interesting, I'm using the Asparagus Marii. Just strip some of those little bits off. I find this is good to have in the garden. It's a waste of time putting it in a pot because it just breaks out. You end up with a broken pot. But we've never had a problem with it, no running away or anything. It just keeps a nice little clump. I've chosen the smaller ones to use here because it's only a small design. So that's quite small for one of those. Now I'll bring that one to the front, that one to the back more, just to balance it. Most florists don't have terribly good hands in doing this, but my profession all my life has been a wedding sewer. I've had to be careful with this. When you're working with silk, you don't want rough hands or satin. Now I'll just put a couple more little bits in. I'm going to cut them back. Oh, actually I could use them. How's the time? Because I might just do this to the front. Be a bit quicker. I have this fern as well. Sure what that one's called. What's that fern?
Can't see it.
It's a hare's foot type, yeah. I'm not sure I didn't. Check that one out. It grows in the garden again. Noel's got his really nice hare's foot in the pots, but this one
Might be a leather fern.
could be leather. I chose these ones because I was trying to grow in between our bromeliads that are in the garden. So I got rid of them. I killed two birds with one stone. Yeah, that creeps through. Now this chrysanthemum's a little bit smaller than the one I'm going to use. Could take that one out. Turn that round to let you see what I've done. You might be able to get an idea from the back, but that looks so good. They can't see that from down there, can they? Now this is a nice curly one. It's not beautiful in the garden. It's not particularly enjoying the rain, but it tends to fall over. I'll put that more in my focal area. I think you get more rain up here than we do.
When you're doing an arrangement like this, do you actually have a focal area? And what is a focal area so people understand that?
Well, we tend to call it a centre of interest these days. It always was a focal area, and it's the area that stands out in the centre of the design. In the asymmetrical one, usually your focal area comes at the
Is it the line from here through?
Yeah, at the bottom. You sort of build up a little area here, what I've got, and that's your focal area. And if it's a traditional mass design, that is your focal area. It doesn't have to be just one flower, it can be a group of flowers. but that's where your centre comes to from your radial position. I've just added some of those bigger ones in there. Getting caught up as we turn around. 5 minutes. All right, the last one's very easy. A little bit too big. Couple more bits. This is almost like a monochromatic with the colouring that I have. We've got the purples and we've got I'm just adding the white. These are little pom-pom type. I thought that would be, if you put them on the back as well, that would be suitable for the table centre. And also it would be okay for your Mother's Day. But to the bridal, I thought I'll just add a tiny little bit of the gypsophila. Someone's calling it over there. So this just softens it up a little bit. There's no reason why you couldn't have that for any other as well, but I just thought it made it a bit more bridal.